Quaye is no new name when it comes to anything showbiz and entertainment. He was one of the key characters in Taxi Driver, a TV series that was popular in the early 2000s. George has produced many events and shows in Ghana. Notable amongst them is The Challenge and Miss Malaika. He was recently awarded as the Best Event Planner and Producer of the Year at the World Changers Summit 2019 in Dubai. Join me as we delve into the life of George Quaye.
So you shot into the limelight through showbiz, or should I say radio and TV, and how did that happen? How did that occur?
Through TV, actually. I remember my first television experience was back in Association International when I played Rollins in a mock Commonwealth Summit. That was a long time ago. Joined various clubs and societies, from Writers and Innovators Club, History Club, Cultural Society, Drama Club, Family Life Education Club, Cadet, you name it, all of them. You know, so we're picking interest here and there. So after SS, I joined David Onto's Cozy Theatre Company. And then we were at rehearsal one evening when they brought a notice that Village Communications was looking for actors to partake in a new TV series called Taxi Driver. Okay. Following day, we went there. When I got there, I think there were about 200 people on queue. Man nearly lost hope and went home, but we waited our turn. When I got to my turn, I remember Amaniampong, I think that was his name. It was Amaniampong, Adjei, and then Brazil Quaye. And then I think the question that when I got there, I said, hey, hello, welcome, what's your name? I mentioned my name. I said, so what brings you here? I said, oh, I hear you guys are looking for an actor. I'm the one you're looking for, let everybody go home. And the guy said, okay, I like you, go home, we'll call you. I thought I'd been too arrogant or too forward or something. So, because people were being given scripts to read and I wasn't given anything. I was home 2 days later, phone rings, is this George Quaye? I said, yeah. Next question was, can you speak Chi? Truth be told, at that point, I could not speak Chi properly, but I said yes.
No, but so what, did you learn Chi for the role or what? Because then in the role, you sounded very...
I had to learn quickly.
Yeah.
Because when I went for the meeting the following day, and they made me understand the role I was going to play, I had to learn quickly. It wasn't like I couldn't speak Chi. I could, but that was just for neighborhood communication.
Would have brought the tonation and all that.
But, I was lucky to have met a great cast. Miki Osaibe, awesome character. Collins Ajiman Safo, who played Cobra, who was security man at Master Richard's house. And all the people that I met on the set, they made it easier, And Amaniampong himself, great genius. That man is one of Ghana's greatest people when it comes to film and television directing, And he made it comfortable. He made it easy, And he made it flexible for each and every one of us. So yes, this is what the script says, but be creative about it. Do it your own way, so that made it easy. And he gave us the flexibility to mix the English with the Chi and all that. So it was very simple. And from that point on, it became just an observation game. I needed to observe people, observe. You meet people, you go to the Trotro station. Man was still taking Trotro at the time. So when you get there, you just observe all these guys speaking. There were times that I could go to the New Plant station, the Kumasi station, the terminal, and while they are waiting for passengers to load, they are playing drafts and stuff, just listening, and all that, so that you could pick words, terms.
Interesting. Yeah. So would you say, that whole thing about observing and trying to apply that to your role? I mean, for some other person, you would have just read the script and then delivered the script. What was it that made you decide that I want to actually compare what really happens in real life and then bring it into my role?
Fortunately for me, I had a theater background.
Okay.
I had been with a drama club in secondary school. I had acted in a number of plays. I had read literature. So I knew what observation meant to the actor. And I knew acting is make-believe. You're trying to enact real life. And how best can you do it than to observe real life? Okay. So I understood the concept of observation from the get-go. And that was why I figured it was important, especially getting into a space that I wasn't really comfortable with. Trust me, the beginning was really tough. Trying to play Armarjaye, that Kumasi, Boga, that kind of thing. here is somebody who, yeah, I'd attended one of the best schools in Ghana, Fansperm. I could express myself very confidently. But my director is saying, I want you to sound like somebody who has not been to school before.
So you have to unlearn.
You needed to unlearn,
yourself.
Rewire, exactly.
Yeah.
And then get into character so that you could. And feedback showed that we did great.
Awesome.
We did great.
So did you know eventually this is where I was going to get you?
No, I didn't actually.
Doing all you're doing, did you have a conscious plan?
I knew at some point that I wanted to be an actor, but after secondary school, when university admissions and stuff started coming in, I had applied to NAFTI without discussing with my father. I had applied to University of Ghana, Tech, UCC. All the universities I applied to got me admissions, all of them, including NAFTI. Dad said, no way, you're not going to go to NAFTI. And he asked a very important question. You want to be an actor? No problem. If you told me you wanted to be an engineer, I would say, yeah, you can grow up to be like engineer this. He lives here. That's his beautiful house. That's his family. That's his car. His kids go to school and holidays abroad and all that. If you told me you wanted to be a doctor, I could say, look at this person, great doctor. Try to understudy him. You want to be an actor, to grow up to be like who? That was an important question for me. At that point, of course, I didn't get him because it was a time when most popular actors were Mr. Mensah of blessed memory, Jagapi, Midikoko, SK Opong, Dr. Rokoto. These are people, they weren't hungry, but they were also not wealthy as society would put them.
I get what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, there were people that, some of them, we could even meet them at trotro stations, would sit in trotro together, and there's somebody you see on TV. So the old man was trying to make a point that, yes, you have the talent, you want to go into this space, but I'm telling you, you may not live a while. And he was trying to avoid me having to come back to him every time and ask for money. So in the beginning, it was a challenge. I didn't get him.
Yeah.
Eventually, we had to compromise because the School of Performing Arts, University of Ghana, had started a new course, Bachelor of Fine Arts, BFA, which was similar to what I was going to study at NAFTI. Okay. Old man was going to be comfortable so far as I was in the university. So yeah, okay, that compromise was agreed to. So I went to the university. I think Shelley Frempomans would have been my mate at NAFTI at the time. Yeah, I remember we went for the interviews together. Okay. Yeah, I remember. So I went to University of Ghana and, did the courses, and then after that I was going to leave the country. You know, when you're in your university, you work small, you travel, bogus small, go and sweep small, make small money and come and flex campus checks. Rewire your life on campus. So we had been doing that. After school, I figured, let me go try do something out there. Then I got a call from Richard Prempe. Richard Prempe was owner of Village Communications, CEO for the Taxi Driver series. And he called and said, oh, okay, yes, I'm done with school. What are my plans? I said, oh, I wanted to go abroad. He said, where am I going to abroad to go? I should come, so we work. I went to Village Communication the following day. He showed me what he wanted me to do. I said, okay, let me give it a shot and see. So I forgot about traveling, stayed at Village Communications, and guess what? Within a year, I had learned how to script, how to produce, how to direct, how to edit. All within a year at Village Communications. And I was handling the President's Special Initiative. They started some programs, English for GSS1, English and all those things. And I had the privilege of producing a couple of them. It was totally my production in my hands, from scripting to production to editing to everything. It was in my hands. Then I started working on some documentaries and all that. It was working on the documentaries. I remember there was a day, I think I had called, was it Nayeli Adefio? She had to come do a voiceover on a documentary that needed to go, and she didn't have time. So I said, okay, let me try and put my voice on this. I tried, we played back, everybody loved it. I said, okay, so I can do voiceovers. Then we started trying that too, started developing that too. So it's not like we set out to do this, but by the time we realized we were behind the scenes, and the interest in being in front of the cameras had waned. As an actor, it had really waned. I found more pleasure in making stars than being a star. Okay. So it became more exciting, being behind the scenes,
so
understanding how all these work.
Was to find yourself within the space.
Exactly. So I just sort of found myself within the space until my girlfriend then, who's now my wife, threw another challenge at me. Something I had probably not even noticed, One day she was like, you can speak well, you decided you're not acting again, fine, it's okay. But what are you doing with your ability to speak and ability to write? I mean, you and I go way back when it comes to writing. We worked together at Unique Magazine, thanks to Francis Adams. So we picked up some writing skills there too.
Yeah.
So what do you intend to do with it? Why don't you have a first degree, why not go do a master's in communications or something? I said, okay, let me think about it. I went back to Legon, did a master's in communications, came out well. Started developing communications, expertise and all that. And thank God today we are CEO for Image Bureau, which is one of Ghana's finest communication agencies.
Beautiful, beautiful. I was actually going to ask what new skills you had to add to your existing skill set, but clearly you've already preempted my questions and stuff. So, given the apprehension of your father at the time that you probably wouldn't make it in entertainment, does entertainment arts and the arts have a future for those considering it?
It's gotten better.
Yeah.
It's gotten way, way, way better. I mean, I visited Sarkodie in his home the other day and I was impressed. And I said, look, gone are the days when the only people who could own these were Daddy Lumba and maybe Kojoinchi and a few others. But Sak at his age and what he has done for himself, you look at people like J-So, you look at people like Shatawale, Stoneboy, Becca. It has gotten better, at least in the music space. And even when you cross over to the acting space, you look at actors like John Dumelo, like Van Vicker, Majid Michel, Jackie Appiah, things have gotten way better. So now if my son or daughter should tell me I want to go into acting, I can look at people that I say, okay, if you work hard, you create the right connections and all that, you can grow up to be people like this, like these. It's also gotten better because gone are the days when brands in this country did not really understand endorsement deals and associating themselves with celebrities, if I should put it that way. But now it's gotten better. I mean, Shatawale just signed a deal with Infinix. He has an ongoing deal with Casper Storm Energy and all that, until the recent fracas, the VGMA, Stoneboy had a deal with Samsung, that is on hold. And I believe eventually they would ignite it and it would go through, Artists, actors and actresses get all sorts of, I've seen Nana Ama-McBrown do so many things for Hisense. Presupposes there's some sort of an engagement that's going on. We've seen Sifa Kain do a lot of things for Unilever, the Omo brand and all those things. So these days, if you're a talent and you're a good talent, you're not just the potential to make money on what you do goes beyond just the fact that you're an actor or an actress. You've got to get all these endorsement deals, which didn't exist at the time. So it's gotten way better. So it's kind of exciting, and I believe the future. There are prospects, so the future will be much, much better.
So what do they have to do considering the changing times? What steps or what things do they have to consciously do to make sure that they excel in this promising field of endeavor?
One of the things that made me take interest in being behind the scenes, aside the inspiration from Richard Prempe, was a movie I acted in while I was in Legon. It's called Anansi. We shot in Ghana, Morocco, Germany, and Spain. And it was produced by Avista Film and Brainpool from Germany and funded by the media program for the European Union. I looked at the crew and I looked at what they were doing. And I realized that these people are not from like one production company. There was somebody from Munich, somebody from Morocco, somebody from Italy. Dawn Fleshman was from the United States. She was director of photography, or should I say assistant director of photography, working together with Arturo Smith, who's a celebrated photographer, or DOP, director of photography from Munich. So though it was a German production, they had pulled the best resources from all over the world to make it happen. If we need to get there, I think we ought to learn to collaborate a bit more, because we are not the greatest repository of knowledge. We can't say we know it all. Technology changes every day, every day. These cameras that we have here, you should see the latest versions of them. It's crazy. There are cameras that can actually even identify and make you count the hair strands and all that. It's getting better every day. So people, with a PD-150 or something like that, and you're carrying it and you're doing strange things. These days, no. Things have changed. I don't remember the last time I saw a beta tape. You know, I don't remember the last time I saw those tapes we used to slot in the cameras and all that. Now it's all about cuts. There are some that record live online. You know, as you're recording, there's an editor sitting somewhere in London editing. He's getting it as you're recording. And so our people need to collaborate a bit more. But key is the state institutions. We need to get the structures in place. Our industry is still a joke, mainly because the structures are simply not there. There are great actors and actresses, musicians in this country, painters and stuff that aren't even earning royalties on their works just because the structures aren't even there. And it's even sad that in certain cases, people actually have to go chase and beg for royalties that are rightly due them.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty unfortunate. Radio stations are logging, so they are probably not paying the right amounts for songs that they play or for stuff that they use. People are using people's books and producing people's plays for free as and when they like and all that. Schools are taking people's books and just using them. People take people's text, they don't get proper attribution. It's all over the place, you know. So I think we ought to insist and ensure. Nanado promised that they were going to set up an entertainment tribunal of a sort. It's unfortunate, it's been 4 years, it's still not been set up. I mean, we haven't even passed the film bill, or to say that we haven't even set up the right institutions to say that, yeah, this is the body that is going to supervise. Where's the creative arts? You've set up a creative arts council, but there's no law for them to operate with and all that. So it's all over the place. And I think that is the genesis of the problem. If we are able to curb that bit and ensure that the right regulations are there, you know, I'm sure if Tyler Perry wants to come produce in Ghana, he knows his intellectual rights are going to be protected. Naturally, he'll be here, he's not going to lose money, you know. So we need to, you know, understand some of these things. And governments also need to understand that, look, America is not the greatest country in the world. Not by GDP, not by even freedom, not by safety, not by nothing. America is the greatest country in the world simply by Hollywood.
Yeah, they projected.
They managed through Hollywood, they managed to let you know that America is the lion of the jungle. America is not the richest country in the world. Last time I checked, I think it was Luxembourg also. You know, but when was the last time you even heard about Luxembourg?
Geography.
You know?
Way back.
But you know America. People dream. The land of opportunity, the land of this, the land of that, the land of
branding.
Trust me, it is all branding. It is, and it's through their music. Look, there's something called the contraflow of global media. And trust me, no part of the most consumed culture globally is American culture.
Yeah, true.
It's in what we wear, it's in what we say, it's in how we speak, it's even in the kind of music we listen to. Through the creative arts, through art and entertainment, through tourism, not even tourism, creative arts. I mean, people don't go to America to tour. What's there? You want to tour, go to South Africa. You want to tour, go to even India, go to Dubai and stuff like that. But everybody wants to go to America because through the power of Hollywood.
Yeah, it's interesting you'd say that. I mean, there was a one-time world leader who was more on the other side of things, and America deposed him. And when he was captured, there were American products in his bunker. Yeah. And this was somebody who vocally and verbally
denounced America.
So it's quite interesting.
It is. We're sitting in this country. We had a legend called Kwame Nkrumah. How many movies are there about Nelson Mandela? Show me one movie about Kwame Nkrumah. Remember, we have filmmakers sitting in this country. Rollins. I keep saying one of the greatest movies the world would ever see is a movie on that day, June 4th. When you read the history, the activities on that day, the build up to that day, and the days that would follow, that would be one of the greatest movies the world ever. Where is that movie? Nobody's even thinking about it.
And probably Netflix will come.
You know, they would probably be the ones who come do it for us. So we are not able to tell our own story as we should. How come there is no movie on the Essamuah?
Yeah, that's a very...
How come there's no movie on Konfuanochi?
Yeah. We have a lot of epics.
Dude put a sword at the ground till date. That sword is still there. Science has not been able to explain how come that sword is still there. And there's no movie on that.
Would that be something that even the Merlin sword legend was coming from?
You know?
Anyways, nobody knows that.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't tell our story enough and we don't sell ourselves enough. It is unfortunate. These days we're consuming Mexican soaps and you can see it. You can hear it. It is influencing our culture in one way or the other. That is contraflow of global media. How much are we giving to the world? How much are we taking from the world? That's the question.
You keep preempting my questions. I was going to ask you, what if you were in a position to change our approach to art and entertainment? And clearly, you've articulated that quite well.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
So it's not all smooth sailing. I believe that you've had challenges in this field of work. And what are the key challenges you faced?
It's not been easy. I have been blessed to have one woman stand by me from the day I entered university till date. But even her, it's difficult to get her to understand certain things. That is one challenge. Family commitment. The world needs you, the job needs you, especially those of us who have decided to do so many things at the same time. So you get very little time for yourself and your family. That is one major setback. And then again, square pegs in round holes. That's another major setback. So opportunity that is due you would go to somebody else for other reasons beyond merit.
Okay.
That's another major problem we face in the industry. I was
recently a little bit more.
Recently I was listening to a show on radio, National Showbiz A to Z on Joy yesterday or the day before. So I think it was yesterday. And a lady actress, for instance, was speaking about how roles have gone past there to less qualified actresses just because they were able to open their legs.
It's a case of sex for roles.
I hear people say some people even pay bribes just to get roles or just to get certain opportunities, And we all know the concept of kickbacks and all these things. We know what happened to the chairman of the National Procurement Agency and all those things. So these problems are not just, it's a national problem, but in the creative space, it sometimes gets worse. That somebody knows your capabilities, but for one other reason, beyond merit or beyond your capabilities, I would go to somebody else. I have had my fair share of that. And then also professionalism is a major problem. Professionalism in the sense that a lot of people in this space learned on the job, not professionally trained for what they are doing. There's nothing wrong with learning on the job, but I always believe that once you've learned on the job, if you have an opportunity to go back to school and improve it, because education is the one thing nobody can take away from you. It doesn't matter what happens in your country. If you decide to pack your bags and leave Ghana and go to Sarajevo today, your education is what's going to make you survive. What you know is what's going to make you survive. Because the funny thing is that if you go to Sarajevo and you still decide to do film, you may be surprised to know the principles apply. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't work in banking, the principles apply. You want to work in sports, the principles apply. It's the same thing. So whatever it is that you find yourself doing, just arm yourself with so much knowledge. I mean, I once heard one of the preachers say, success happens when opportunity meets preparation. Yeah. So how prepared are you? So until that door opens, keep preparing. Once the door opens and they blow the whistle or fire the shot and say, go, just go get it. But that is a problem we have in our space. People think, oh, I'm an actor, it's okay. I'm a talented actor, I can act, it's okay. No, it's never okay. I'll show up late on set. Oh, don't worry, I go do. Don't forget the script, I go do. No.
Yeah.
Take it seriously. Master the art. Look, every craft, every trade, every job, every business has its rules, regulations, and tenets that guide it. If you're able to get on top of all of that. But unfortunately in our space, a lot of people do not get to the top of it. So people are, Shakespeare said, drink deep or taste not.
Yeah.
People are just at the shallow end. And unfortunately, they think they know better than you who's drunk deep. So that is where the problem is. And unfortunately, if you go sounding a little intelligent, oh, we be book long, forget that one. I've created a friend or didn't book ever say so time no day. But I mean, how can you tell me you're shooting a 1 hour, 20 minutes movie in 5 days? Really? What are you shooting? Really?
Documentary.
But that's the kind of country we live in, you know. These are some of the problems.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it leads me to the next question. I mean, do you have a philosophy that guides you to, guides your work ethic?
I have one that's always been on my Facebook page. It's been there for years now. It says, good days and bad days, we have them all. Most important thing is not to fall. Bottom line, what it means is that it doesn't matter what you set out to do, there will be struggles. When you fall, rise again. You will fall, you'll be hit hard. They will throw it at you. Just keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting up. And once you're up on your feet, do whatever it is you can not to fall again. But rest assured, the good days and bad days, you will have them. It means a lot for me. And it has also got some sort of a rhyme in there because I believe everything should balance. Everything should rhyme. I have no offense, but when I meet poor people, the human side of me feels the pity for them. But I believe for somebody to be rich, somebody has to be poor. There has to be balance. For somebody to be happy, somebody may be sad. There has to be balance. For somebody to be laughing, somebody should be crying. There has to be balance. For somebody to be a king, somebody's got to be a slave. There has to be balance. Or a servant, there has to be balance. So yes, it doesn't matter where you find yourself, be you the king or the slave, whatever it is, you can make the best out of it. Trust me, there are slaves in this world who are happier than kings, or there are servants in this world who are happier than their masters. It's just a matter of perspective. The people that are seeing the glass half full are always happier than those that are seeing the glass half empty. But it's still the same half glass. It's all a matter of perspective.
So it takes me to another saying that I know, contrast is the source of all meaning.
Exactly.
Also sounding very...
Exactly. Yeah, contrast definitely is the source of all meaning. It's all a matter of where you stand. That's why one of my favorite movies is Vantage Point. I don't know if you've seen it. Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie. You know.
So this, what you said right now, I would say came out of your character being shaped throughout your period, the period.
Yeah.
Can you tell us quickly about how you grew up?
That's a long one. I was actually born in Abosokai. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
I was born in Abosokai. I grew up a little bit in Palladium, but mostly in Kotobabi down, where I get to. I spent a lot of time in Kotobabi. And I keep saying that when I look at where I am today and where some of the people I grew up with in Kotobabi are, I give praises to God because I have no business being here. I mean, it wasn't like I grew up in an overly great home. I was blessed to have a great mother and a great father. My dad made sure we never lacked. There was not a single day that there was no food in my house. There was not a single day that I got thrown out of school for non-payment of fees. And there was not a single day that my mom didn't make sure there was something right. I was wearing the right kind of shirt. My underwears were clean and all those things. So I was fortunate to have parents that really did care, you know. But that does not take the hood out of me. I mean, when they went to work and I was home, I was playing with the people they probably would have wished I didn't play with. I was going to the places they probably wished I wouldn't go. But that's when you're a kid. You at a certain age, you become a bit rebellious. You don't want to hear, you don't listen. But again, one thing that really saved me was, though I was the youngest, I had an opportunity to play and interact with my big brother's friends, you know. It's not like we had that many friends anyway. So a lot of the times I was playing with my big brothers and their friends, you know. So that also helped shape me up a little bit, opened the mind a little earlier than it should have opened. So we were quite fortunate. I started school at Bethel Academy around Latibia question. You know, I actually didn't start there. I actually did start at Wesley. When you go to John Wesley Methodist Church, there's a primary school there in Palladium. That was where I started. Then I crossed over to Bethel Academy in Latibia question, then to Association International, then to the school. Those who don't know the school, you can go on Google and look for which other school in Ghana is known as the school. Yeah, I mean, you find it. If Fanscom doesn't pop up, change your browser. So I went to FANSPM. Yeah, FANSPM. Then after that, University of Ghana for undergrad, University of Ghana again for master's degree. And we've been able to win some awards along the line. Glory to God.
Awesome. I mean, it's a remarkable story, if you ask me. Story of growth, story of resilience, and story of not giving up and fighting consistently. Before we leave, the last question really is, what change would you bring to how we market ourselves as Ghanaians, if you had the opportunity to? Because clearly it has a very big role to play in national development.
It sure does. And the first thing about marketing for me, and I keep telling anyone who's interested in marketing, any product or service or even person, the first thing is to understand what you're selling. Once you understand what you're selling, it will be easier to sell it because you then know who needs it and who to sell it to. Once you know who needs it and who to sell it to, I keep telling people, do not let the cost of what you're selling be determined by your cost of production. Let it be determined by value. And value is relative. If I want to sell you, say, a hair product, or let's say, a hair product, first question you'd ask is, what? Is it for hair growth? Or is it for preventing dandruff or whatever it is that may come into the hair? Your need is what will determine the value you put on that item that I'm selling to you. So that is where knowing your audience or knowing your market, knowing your target comes in. You can't carry coal to Newcastle. They don't need it because they have too much of it there.
Yeah.
Or carrying gold to Ivory Coast to sell gold to Ivory Coast, or is it cocoa to Ivory Coast? They've got a lot of cocoa there too. We and them, we do the cocoa thing. So first, the question is, who is leading the marketing drive? Does the person understand what we have to sell? When we understand what we have to sell, does the person know how to identify the market?
Who needs it?
Who needs it? You visit desert-related countries, desert-prone countries. Let's even take Dubai. You enter a shop, you want a bottle of water, and you open, and the water brand that you see, you haven't seen in Ghana before, and I keep asking myself, so those producing water in Ghana, haven't they thought about exporting to these areas? Maybe they have, but trade regulations and stuff like that haven't made it possible. But that is the kind of point I'm trying to make. Understand the product you want to sell. Identify the people that need that product. The level of their need will determine the value, and that value is going to help you determine the cost that you put on that product. So first, you need somebody with that kind of thinking. A lot of the times, a lot of us sell based on our cost of production. Oh, okay, this thing, it cost us 3 cedis to produce. It cost me 10 cedis to produce this ring. Okay, make I put small profit for top. Make I add 5, so let's sell it for 15. No, somebody can buy it for $1 million. Depending on the need. If you're able to identify the right market and you're able to put the right premium or the right value on it, once they understand the value. So our determination, our negotiations when it comes to market and when we are selling should not be about cost of production. I think it should more be on value. And once people understand that, I think the story will change. So yes, if we are going to market ourselves, we need to understand value. The value is always key. What are we selling? Who needs it? How badly does the person need it? Let that determine the kind of value you put on it. And we'll be telling a better story.
Very insightful. Place value on yourself.
Exactly.
And sell wherever you go.
Exactly.
Put work into yourself as well. And wherever you go, you're already prepared.
Exactly.
And the opportunity favors you. Josh Quaye, thank you so much for joining us on the Rewired show.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure and would like to have you again sometime soon.
Yes, you should. Let's do it again soon. I like it. Let me say hello to the crew. Yes.